Hi everyone, welcome to the very first episode under our new name, the Bumper Blueprint podcast. If you've been a listener for a while, you'll know we've evolved. This rebrand isn't just a new look or a new name. It reflects something deeper that I've been thinking about, our commitment to building systems that don't just run, but actually run in alignment with who you are as a business. I'm your host, Jovana Vujnic, founder of Bumper Leads, and today we're talking about a very real shift happening in marketing, automation, and branding. It's the age of AI, and more importantly, it's the age where your brand either cuts through or quietly fades. If you're in Australia, you may have seen a commercial or a story about Jeanswest AI campaign that was making headlines. Two AI-generated women walking on a beach. It's eerie, unconvincing, soundtrack by music that literally included that prompt that says, a warm, cozy Australian cafe atmosphere with relaxed indie folk vibes. The team had forgotten to remove the instruction text from the AI-generated audio, and it went live. This was literally a big brand. This brand, let's say it's $100 million brand in Australia. They ran this ad with a prompt and an instruction from AI. They forgot to delete that. So this wasn't just an executional fail. As one marketing professor put it, I like what he said. He said, AI didn't destroy Jeanswest brand. The decision to use bad AI reveals a brand already destroyed. So this is what happens when there is no strategy in place. When no one stops to ask, is this really us? Does this align with our customers? Do they actually care about this? And AI, I don't blame AI. AI didn't create the problem. It just made a poor brand decision loud, fast, and public. So it was amplified. The problem was amplified with AI. And that's because you can do that if you don't have a strategy. So according to a branding agency that has worked with us, a local one in Australia, they're the best, called Tiny Hunter. They've done a research into this, and they said that 81% of business leaders agree that branding drives competitive advantage, and yet 40% can't clearly say what makes them different. So there is a gap between knowing and doing. That's what my friends at Tiny Hunter call the brand action gap. And that's where most automation and AI implementation falls flat. Not because the tools are bad, but because businesses treat branding like a side project, not like the infrastructure guiding every system and decision. So they install tech without clarity, and when things break, they assume the system is the problem. We're seeing this across industries. Other research shows that 77% of leaders see AI as a board level priority, but 94%, this is a crazy number, 94% hit execution roadblocks. Things like what's stopping them from implementing, things like fragmented data, lack of internal skills, or misalignment across departments. 94% hit execution roadblocks. This is exactly what my podcast is going to be all about. It's addressing this problem of execution. And typically when we look at a CRM, these challenges show up at every phase. At phase, as you're identifying use cases as a business, if you're looking to integrate systems, because you can't have one tool that does everything. Deploying solutions, or you sign up to Salesforce or some big CRM and you go, how do I make this work for my business? The sales execution gap is a perfect example. A lot of people, when they sign up, salespeople, they don't want to touch the CRM. There's going to be a lot of manual processes and incomplete data that kills deals because they don't actually deploy. The software is there to capture maybe some notes, but it's only used 5% of the time in the business. People don't use it, and salespeople don't like to use CRM. They don't want to fiddle with the tech, even if you have all the fancy AI tools in place. And meanwhile, many marketers jump straight into governance. So this leads to governance theater, a set of rules without direction, restrictions without strategy. I was just talking to my neighbor who happens to be a commercial lawyer, and the marketing department just wants to drive all these big promotions. And she's like the roadblock. She's the governance department that says, hey guys, if you want to pay millions in fines, be my guest, but these are the rules and this is what I have to say. So if we want to go into strategy, we have to also factor in the restrictions for what we're able to do as marketers. And we've all seen the headlines where AI misfires spectacularly, but what they often reveal is a deeper problem. There's that poor brand alignment. For example, Air Canada's chatbot was on X somewhere, I read it, which falsely promised a bereavement fare refund to a grieving customer. And not only did the airline initially refuse to honor it, but they were legally forced to compensate the passenger. So this wasn't just a glitch, it was a brand trust failure amplified by AI hallucination. Or there's a brand called Zillow, Zillow, whose AI home buying algorithm overvalued thousands of homes, resulting in massive losses and layoffs. That's a failure of predictive modeling and a reminder that AI, without grounded business judgment, can destroy strategy not supported. And then I mentioned this in my previous episodes. There is the Amazon's AI recruiting tool scrapped after it showed bias against women. Or Microsoft's Tay chatbot. Did you know that they launched Tay chatbot, which was quickly corrupted into spreading hate speech online. So I don't know if it's still there. Or Taco Bell's AI drive-thru that got trolled and exploited by customers. Even a Chevrolet chatbot sold a car for $1 because of prompt manipulation. So these aren't one-off tech fails. They are brand infrastructure failures. They happen when businesses roll out automation boundaries without brand-aligned oversight, everything that we talk about. And if you've been a listener of mine for a long time, you will appreciate how important all of this is. Branding isn't just your logo or a color palette. It's the story your systems tell when you're not in the room. So when people are talking about you as a brand and you're not there, that's the power of branding. When your customer journey is disconnected or feels a bit chaotic or messy, your brand feels the same. You can't fix that with automation alone. I think automation will just amplify those problems. And you certainly can't outsource strategy to AI because we know what happens. It's funny, I saw this meme online where it perfectly summarizes what AI is and how people today use AI, and that is with a chatbot. You would normally go and ask it questions and it will give you some answers. And you have to still be the expert to know what is right, what is wrong. But this meme actually shows this perfectly, where it shows the picture of the person typing and AI giving the answer. So the person is asking the question, are these mushrooms poisonous? As in, attach the photo. And AI says, no, they're not. They're perfectly safe to eat. And the next picture is, there's a graveyard and he's in the grave. And then AI is going, oh, sorry, they are poisonous. Would you like me to tell you more about these poisonous mushrooms? So you can see how quickly things can go from bad to worse. So you need a roadmap, you need alignment, and most of all, you need decisions that reflect who you are and what your customers expect. This is why non-technical leaders must be at the table when automation and AI get rolled out. Strategy and systems can't live in separate silos. It's always been the same, whether you use AI or whether you're using automation, whether you're looking to automate your business, your marketing, your systems. You need some kind of a plan to do that. And of course, not all AI is a cautionary tale. When done right, it can elevate a brand, enhance trust, feel completely natural to the customer. A colleague of mine recently met with a team at Salesforce to explore their new personalization features. What stood out was how brands like Fisher and Paykel are using AI to not just send relevant emails, but to personalize the entire customer experience in real time. So from tailored web content to dynamic pop-ups that changed based on user behavior, this site evolves as the customer searches live on the site. And Salesforce is using AI agents to do that. The result is that you get this really good, seamless, human-like interaction that reinforces what the brand already stands for. And some other brands that are in the beauty business, they use this a lot. So if you have a lot of traffic volume online, this is a very powerful, scalable personalization tool to use because it happens in real time and the customer can be taken to the right path to make that purchase. And that's very important when you are selling online. And this is what happens when automation is driven by the right strategy. The tech supports the journey, the experience feels intentional, it doesn't feel robotic. And that's exactly what we do at Bumper Leads with our framework called the Bumper Blueprint. We rebranded this podcast because the Bumper Blueprint is our unique system. It's how we help businesses align strategy with automation, message with tech, brand with delivery. It's proprietary, it's personal, and it's not something you can copy with a plug and play template. So when you build systems that reflect your brand, your systems that feel like you don't need to compete on price. You don't need to rely on shiny tools or loud content. You grow because your marketing is aligned, authentic, and consistent. So if you're a business owner, a freelancer, or part of an agency trying to sell automation, let this be your reminder. Don't skip the brand work. Automation without strategies is noise. Instead, build from the inside out. Start with your message, then your method, then your systems, and that's what the Bumper Blueprint is all about. If this episode gave you something to think about, I'd love for you to subscribe and share it with someone who needs it. We'll be back next week with a deep dive into how to audit your sales systems for leaks, the first step in our blueprint. Until then, stay human, stay curious, and keep building something that lasts. Thanks for listening to the Bumper Blueprint podcast.